Lincoln 102, Lincoln 103 and 102.
Responding to 401 parking structure, section 1 boy.
Henry 8, Henry 9. Respond to gate 437 Bravo for your dignitary detail. 3K 911 unattended 400 lower level near carousel 4 black bag. GTA in progress 401 parking structure, section 4 boy.
Responding to 401 parking structure, section 1 boy.
415 passenger onboard aircraft.
Control 2 Franklin is en route.
484 suspect is female, Hispanic, 28 years of age, blue jeans, no further.
Control 5 Frank 401 is en route.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of On the Legal Side, a production of Private Officer International and Blue Ram Media Group. Today's episode has a topic that is very disturbing as the trend continues to increase rather than decrease. But before we get into the meat of the subject today, I want to first point out that we are extremely excited about hitting number 600. 600 radio shows so far here on the Private Officer Beat Radio. Yay for us, huh? 600 shows. That's a lot of different talking points, a lot of different shows that we have produced over the years, and we're now shooting for another 600. So, with that being said, let's get into today's program on the legal side. Over the last year or so, maybe a few years actually, we have noticed a trend, and this trend is not a good one. It is another black eye for the security profession. It's another point of contention, another area that we really have to begin to look at and crack down on. In recent months, we have noticed a number of security officers who have been caught stealing from their clients, taking merchandise, money, and other assets. And that's why today's episode is called Theft, Freebies, and Discounts. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to tell me that cops do it all of the time. And you'd probably be right. Some of them do. Not all of them. Not the majority of them. But having been on the beat, both in public and private patrol situations, there's a lot of opportunity for receiving freebies, getting discounts on products, and for officers to just downright be honest and steal from the very property, business that they're supposed to be protecting. And I got to be frank with you. It disgusts me. It really does. And I've said this 1,000 times before. No good cop is going to stick up for a bad cop. No good guy is going to honor a bad guy. Cops, and it should be security personnel, hate dishonest cops or security officers. And as for me, I would never protect one. I would never turn my back, and there would never be that blue wall, so to speak. In recent months, since the end of last year, around Christmas time, and just recently, 2 security officers have been arrested for stealing. And they didn't really try to hide it, to be honest with you. They were pretty bold and very sure of themselves that they weren't going to be stopped by store employees. So in one situation, it was at a convenience store. It was in Miami. And this security officer, who was supposed to be protecting the convenience store from others who were stealing, and that's why they had him there, was they had a bad problem with people coming in and stealing beer and so forth. But this security officer was caught on surveillance cameras a number of times, not only pocketing little snacks, but walking out the back door with boxes of things, groceries, different items taken from the shelf, not once or twice, but numerous times. According to the news article, the store manager approached the security guard toward the end of it, reported it to his company, asked that he would be compensated for the items taken. After all, he did have surveillance of the incidents happening. There was no restitution. The security guard became defiant, and eventually the store owner called law enforcement, and the security guard was arrested for multiple charges of theft. Yes, but cops do it all the time. Unfortunately, that's not false. And as I've already stated, I don't care if you're law enforcement or private security. If you're wearing a badge and a uniform and you're there to hire and protect, you've been hired to protect a store and you become a culprit yourself, that just doesn't stand well with me. Last year, around the same time, in December of 2021, a police officer with the York Police Department in South Carolina was arrested by the State Law Enforcement Division, and he's been charged with misconduct in office and shoplifting. Kashin Mekalevin, 31, is accused of shoplifting more than $90 worth of items from a store on Liberty Street in York, South Carolina, while he was on duty. According to state law enforcement, he entered the store numerous times and just boldly walked out with merchandise while in uniform and while driving a marked police car. Another police officer, again, toward Christmas, also in South Carolina, was charged with 3 counts of shoplifting from an area Walmart. I'm not really sure what these people, it's bad enough that civilians shoplift and steal and pilfer, and employees of retailers and other stores constantly defraud their employer of money and product. You know, it's sad enough that retailers have to put up with what's going on, especially these days. with the large amount of theft, retail crimes in their stores. And now to have their security or law enforcement to come in and steal from them, it's just, there's no word for it, actually, other than it's a disgrace. Private Officer International, over the last 18 years, has tracked many cases of internal theft that was the result of a security officer. We have reported hundreds over the years, but some of these cases are so blatant and so bold that it's almost a heist. It turns into something more dramatic than just a simple petty theft. When we come back from the break, I want to tell you about a couple of other incidents, and I want to talk about freebies and discounts as well. What is legal? When can you take something from the store? When can you accept a gift from the client? When can you accept a freebie? Hey, I got to be honest. When you're out there in uniform, businesses do want to give you freebies. A cup of coffee, a free meal here and there, discounts on merchandise, and they will gladly offer it to you, not only because, you know, they feel maybe in their own way that they're trying to show respect or reward you for your service, but also they want you to be a customer and they want you to be in the store. It's great for them to have you there as often as possible to help protect your store, especially if they're in a bad neighborhood or they've had high crime at their business or in the neighborhood. And so having a uniformed officer, whether private security or law enforcement, definitely helps protect their business. When I come back, I want to talk about what is acceptable, what is criminal, and what is something you should really avoid. On this episode of On the Legal Side, theft, freebies, and discounts. We'll be right back.
Yep, no pigtails anymore.
Check, please.
David, you okay to drive?
Yeah, I only had a couple drinks. I'm fine.
Come on.
Keys can be a weapon. A few drinks can make you a killer.
When I was a gang leader, we probably did business together because when people like you buy knockoffs on the street, often the money goes to gangs, and gangs use this easy money for other activities. In other words, they're getting a lot of bang for their buck.
Counterfeits hurt, but you have the power to stop them. Go to www.ncpc.org/getreal. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance, U.S. Department of Justice.
Kyle loved hunting. He was in a tree stand and a support broke. He wasn't wearing a safety harness. I can't help Kyle, but I can help you. Please wear a safety harness. Please take the free hunter safety course, and please be careful.
Welcome back to On the Legal Side. Today we are talking about theft, freebies, and discounts here on episode 600. Well, to be honest with you, I mean, who among us hasn't been on the job someplace in uniform when someone wants to give you a free cup of coffee or they offer to give you free lunch? Maybe even they give you a discount on whatever you're buying because they see your uniform. And this happens not only for private security and law enforcement, but for firefighters and EMT paramedics. The uniform, the badge, as I said before we went to break, oftentimes people are just trying to be nice. They're just trying to be respectful and show appreciation for your service. and all the things that you do to protect not only their business but the community. And so a way for them to do it is to offer something free or to give you a special discount. I want to caution each and every one of you, though, when you're on duty at a business of any type, but especially a retailer, a restaurant, a convenience store, a couple of things that you really need to consider. Number one, taking freebies, you can really quickly take advantage of that client, that customer. He offers you on a hot summer day to grab a bottle of soda or water from the cooler and no charge. And then next week you're in the store and you automatically go to the cooler and grab a bottle of water, and while you're on the way up the aisle you grab a couple of snacks because you missed lunch, breakfast, and you're hungry. That's theft. It's one thing when the client offers. It's just like if you are at a restaurant in civilian clothes and the restaurant is giving away to all the customers who has a meal free dessert. Now, you're in civilian clothes. They don't know that you work in security or law enforcement, but everybody, every customer today is getting free dessert when they buy a meal. Well, everyone's getting the same advantage. They're getting the same item, the same freebie. But now you're in uniform next week, a couple of weeks down the road, and you're having dinner, and you say, hey, I'm going to have that piece of chocolate pie, and it's free, right? No, it was free 2 weeks ago. Yeah, but I'm in uniform. If you expect a customer, a business to give you something free that others are not receiving, then that would be really dishonesty. You're trying to strong arm the business into giving you a freebie. That is definitely wrong. And if you really become too aggressive, it could actually be a criminal charge. It doesn't look good anyways for any security officer or even law enforcement to take a freebie while in uniform. I mean, the general public, they're not going to be very happy about it, and they may not respect you because of it. I've seen many times over the years law enforcement going into their regular eating spot and getting free meals every time. That's an arrangement between him and the business, and, you know, if it's not right, he has to live with it. I personally don't take free meals when I'm in uniform unless everybody is participating. If they're giving out free sandwiches at their business because it's a brand new business just opening up and they're giving away free food for people to try it, okay, that's great. Everybody's taking the same advantage, getting the same advantage. But if it's just to me, I really don't want it. I've taken, over the years, a cup of coffee, a bottle of soda or a fountain drink, and no more than once or twice a free meal when offered among the group, not individually. Our fire department sometimes will go in to eat at a restaurant, and they offer everyone a free meal. Freebies are great, but only if they benefit not only you individually, but others, like in a group. Be very, very cautious about what you take from any client or customer or any business that you walk into, because I've learned over the years they're going to expect something for that. If you're in law enforcement and you're taking free meals from a restaurant and they're breaking the alcohol beverage law, or you're called to the scene for some type of incident where, you know, the manager got mad at someone and punched them in the face, they're going to expect you to look the other way, to have a blind eye. And that's where taking freebies can really come back to bite you in the butt, because they are going to expect you to look the other way because of all the things that they have done for you. Now, I have been told in my beginning of law enforcement career that people sometimes will do this just to put you into that corner, knowing that they may need your favor or they may need some type of payback from you later on. So be careful when you're talking about freebies. Freebies should never be taken individually or even collectively as a group, but I know it happens. Just be careful as to what type of freebies. Discounts is another area that sometimes becomes a conflict. If a store is going to give you a discount because you're wearing a uniform, but they don't give that same discount to the general public, then again, they may be trying to put you in a corner where they will expect something in return should an incident occur on their property. Maybe they may even expect you as a security officer to do something that is borderline illegal for them. I know in my situation, I've had business owners ask me to run people's criminal history, which is against the law. Police can only run criminal history if they are actively conducting an investigation. I've had business owners want various information about people, tags. They wanted them to be run through the system. Again, that's a violation of the law. Privately, can a private security officer, if they have access to that information, give it out? Again, that's a very gray area and one that I would avoid. There are many reasons why businesses will give you discounts, freebies. You know, sometimes they call them samples. Here, have this. It's a sample. Here, have dinner. This is a brand new thing that we're putting on the menu. Sample it out for us. Be our test dummy. Be the guinea pig. No charge. We just want to see how it tastes and how you like it, and be very careful. Be very, very careful what you do, what you accept. We've already touched base on the most frequent, disgusting area of theft, freebies, and discounts, and that's just outright theft. Taking of anything without permission, anything that has value. I've worked retail loss prevention for 10 years. I've had employees take everything from a candy bar to some items that were meant to be destroyed, and they've taken it upon themselves to take the merchandise out of the store. And even though the merchandise was going to be disposed of for whatever reason, maybe there was a snag in the shirt or there was a return and they couldn't send it back to the vendor, and so they were going to throw it in the dumpster. Even though that would be the case, it still had retail value. You can't take things without permission. A number of years ago, a assistant retail store manager took it upon himself to take some items, furniture items, out the back door, out of a loading dock after the store was closed, and he was going to give it to a relative who was down on their luck, but, it was theft. And even though this assistant manager, long-term employee of the store, he thought that the merchandise was going to be thrown away because it had some, dent and scratches and different things that would take away from the value in the retail market, but it wasn't for him to decide. And unfortunately, we had to prosecute him, and he was arrested for a felony. Be very careful what you take from the store. An employee of a store has no legal right to give you a discount. An employee of a store has no legal right to say, here, take this as a sample, or here, we're going to throw this dresser out because it's got a couple of scratches or one drawer doesn't work all the way. It sticks sometimes. Here, you can take it home, fix it up. An employee of a business has no legal right to do that. And sometimes not even a store manager. It would have to be someone with a higher authority like the store owner or a regional manager, district manager, someone with much higher authority. But I will ask you this question, and I'm sure, almost without a doubt, that you're going to answer collectively a resounding yes. You've been on patrol, you've been in uniform, you've gone through a drive-through, they see the uniform, and they say, oh, no charge. You walk into 7-Eleven, the manager, the employee says, oh, yeah, no charge for that coffee. You go into a store, you're going to grab a thing or two. You get up to the register and they say, oh, we have a 50% off discount for people in uniform. This has probably happened to you. How did you manage that situation? Was it a freebie? Was it a theft? Was it a discount? What did you think about it afterwards? Oh, it was great for me. I got this for free. I got a 50% off. I had the sample. No. Sooner or later, people are going to expect you to pay it back in one form or the other. When you're on the job, do the job with integrity. A couple of weeks ago, a security officer in New Jersey was arrested. He was at a school. After it was closed, he stole a number of laptops. That's not a person that's trustworthy. That's not a person with integrity. That's not a person that has any dignity. To steal thousands of dollars worth of merchandise from a school that you've been hired to protect, that's someone who has some serious issues. And let me be clear, it doesn't matter the price of the item, the value of the item. It doesn't matter if it's a bottle of water or a case of wine or beer or groceries. If you take it illegally, without consent, without permission, it's theft. Sadly, every year in the private security field, and if you get our news blog, if you read our newsletters, you see it almost daily, security officers are arrested, and one of the primary charges is theft. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth having a criminal record. It's not worth having being blacklisted, not being able to work in the security field, or sometimes, a theft charge that will blacklist you for many different types of jobs where honesty is a key factor in whether or not they hire you. I know as a business owner that if I was to see any type of larceny or theft on an applicant's application, I would not hire them. It's not that I don't think that people can be rehabilitated, because I know that they can, but it would be a liability and a risk for a business owner. Theft, freebies, discounts. Don't be tempted to steal. And when it comes to discounts and freebies, if it's not being offered to everyone, don't take it. Sooner or later, there'll have to be some type of payback from you. That's going to conclude this episode of On the Legal Side. Theft, freebies, discounts. Very tricky area. It sounds like a good idea. It sounds like, hey, this is great for me. But really, in the long run, it's just not worth having that free item or those discounts. Be safe, be blessed, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for the Private Officer Beat Radio.